Hi there, a hearty welcome to all of you who have joined us for another informative weekend edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Theodore Henry. Today we're looking at the 2023-2024 budget for the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, plus other budget discussions. It's a packed program and all of it is information you want to know, so stick around. We get into the thick of things after a short break.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
Thanks for staying. You heard it at the top. We're opening government's budget book, turning to the pages for the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, and reviewing the major expenditure plans for the upcoming fiscal year.
My ministry is committed to our role as business enablers. We want businesses to thrive, hence the enabling and facilitation which this ministry will do.
To achieve this mission in the 2023-2024 fiscal year, the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce is projecting expenditure of $5.4 billion. Nearly $500 million of this will be earned from fees collected during the year. Another $810 million will fund capital development projects financed by government and Jamaica's international partners. The largest portion of the ministry's recurrent expenditure for the new fiscal year, $980.2 million, will cover central administration, policy planning and development. Notably, an allocation of $14 million is made towards upgrading the ministry's ICT infrastructure. $10 million will support implementation of a pilot ISO 9001 certification initiative for medium-sized businesses.
We want investors to invest in creating goods and services, agro-processing, legal services for the financial services industry.
The ministry's continued facilitation of industrial development and regulation will be done at a cost of over $1.7 billion. $586 million of this allotment will help to support and develop the medium, small and micro-enterprise sector through the ministry's MSME office and activities of the Jamaica Business Development Corporation (JBDC). This allocation includes $34 million to support operations of small business development centers and continued implementation of the Essential Oils Incubator project. The Cannabis Licensing Authority is allotted $425 million for its work to develop that industry in the new fiscal year. The ministry will be spending $746.6 million to protect businesses through the activities of entities such as the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, the Anti-Dumping Commission, and the regulation of insolvency, cooperative services, and industrial provident societies. The program of Consumer and Public Protection is getting over $703.8 million. This will finance the work of the Consumer Affairs Commission, the Fair Trading Commission, the Food Storage and Prevention of Infestation Division, and the Hazardous Substance Regulatory Authority. Strengthening trade, promotion and development is a major focus for the ministry, with a projected spend of over $2 billion. This will fund trade facilitation and regulation activities, improving the ability of service providers, manufacturers, and agricultural producers to effectively engage international trade, building global relationships to drive investment and exports, and providing investment and export promotion services to key markets.
Many of our most successful local companies are those which have executed a targeted business strategy that includes exporting goods and services to other countries.
Over $733 million is budgeted to finance the work of the Special Economic Zones Authority to regulate and supervise the development of SEZs. $997.7 million will finance the work of the Companies Office of Jamaica.
Global services is the fastest growing employment creator in Jamaica. The GSS is exporting Jamaican services to foreign markets to raise our employment of Jamaicans and earn hard foreign currency.
With funding from the Inter-American Development Bank, $810 million will be spent to continue development of the higher value-added segment of the global services sector in Jamaica. This will involve continued upskilling of the workforce through the Heart NSTA Trust and the VTDI. Several interventions are also planned to increase the capacity to attract foreign direct investment. The Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, investing in the development of business in Jamaica.
We're still in budget mode. Now it's time for Prime Minister Andrew Holness to outline the major road infrastructure projects that will roll out in the coming year.
The following is an excerpt from the 2023-2024 budget presentation by Prime Minister the Most Honourable Andrew Holness.
The National Road Operating and Constructing Company Limited, NROC, is currently executing two major projects. The first is the South Coast Highway Improvement Project, Part A, from Maypen to Williamsfield, constructing approximately 23 kilometers of a 4-lane highway and upgrading of approximately 5 kilometers of the existing Melrose Hill bypass to a 4-lane rural arterially divided highway. This is now 90% complete and will be open in August 2023. After the construction is finalized, the highway will be the property of the government of Jamaica. It will be a tolled highway, and therefore the government will negotiate a concession for its operation. But the government owns that highway. The second major project, Madam Speaker, is the much anticipated Montego Bay Perimeter Road, where we broke ground on the 16th of July 2022. This US $274 million project includes the Perimeter Road, Long Hill Bypass, upgrades of West Green Avenue and Barnett Street, and a drainage study of this city of Montego Bay. The design-build contract speaks to a one-year design period with a scheduled start of July 2023. Many of the activities done so far include pre-construction work, which is surveying, soil testing, designs, and the provisions to create a batching plant and the acquisition of lands. My administration plans to extend the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project further westward from Williamsfield in Manchester, where the current project ends, to Hodges in St. Elizabeth. The scope of the project includes improvement of the existing road infrastructure, as well as bypasses for Mandeville, a bypass for Spurtree, a connection close to Junction, Southfield, heading into Black River. Two toll roads exist in Jamaica: the North-South Highway and the East-West Highway, which includes a Portmore access via the causeway. Presently, users on either toll road are forced to exit onto the Mandela Highway if they intend to access the other toll road. This is inefficient, and we will resolve this with the design and construction of a full-grade separated interchange between the North-South Highway and the East-West Highway in the Caymanas vicinity. And Madam Speaker, pre-construction work will begin in the next financial year. This is just one step in the long-term plan to build out a fully connected road network across Jamaica that allows users to move seamlessly across the island. The government has allocated this year $6.9 billion to address road and bridge repairs and maintenance and other costs dealing with civil infrastructure. This is clearly not enough to deal with all the roads in Jamaica which are in need of attention. We have made excellent progress on dealing with our highways and our main thoroughfares. However, it is now time to address our secondary roads and local roads. The Minister of Finance announced the Shared Prosperity through Accelerated Improvement to our road network, the SPARK program, for roads, where we will allocate 40 billion Jamaican dollars to repairing approximately 2,000 secondary and local roads over the next 3 years.
It's now time to navigate the digital highway and talk security. The convenience of online activities for work, study, business, or pleasure has become the new normal of everyday life. But in this new normal, we also have to familiarize ourselves with the new realities for protecting ourselves from fraudulent and criminal behavior within the technology space. Watch this next feature to learn about online security issues and what can be done to stay secure.
Cybersecurity trends, though ever-changing, are a constant in today's society, even more so due to the increased usage of technology to attend school, conduct meetings, carry out work tasks, and basic day-to-day necessities.
There are a lot of trends out there, but as far as the online space, phishing is one of the enduring challenges out there, and the trend these days is to actually utilize COVID-19 resource sites as a platform from which to launch these attacks. They look very much like the official sites for a lot of these companies, and if you're really not wary, you will actually not realize that there are subtle changes such as misspellings, such as a graphic that is not where it should be.
So phishing, what really is it? According to our research, it is a type of social engineering attack often used to steal your user data, including login credentials and credit card numbers. As Lieutenant Colonel Sterling just explained, the hackers can replicate a trusted website. They can even trick you into opening malicious emails and messages. Once you do this, by clicking the link attached, you could very well be giving the hackers access to your private information, so be careful.
Additionally, we've seen an uptick in ransomware, and this is where this usually starts as part of a phishing campaign, and when you have fallen victim, the end result is that the attacker gains access to either your device or your network, and they encrypt your files and ask for ransom. But we're also seeing an increase in cryptojacking. This is where hackers will actually steal your cryptocurrencies and they will take them to exchanges and cash out. So as Jamaicans become more adept at buying cryptocurrency and supporting our own digital currency issued by the central bank, they have to be more wary of some of the pitfalls of cryptojacking online. Now, we have seen also a good trend where the use of HTTPS for web-facing resources has increased by about 174% within the region. We have also seen a downward trend in malware infections because more persons are installing antivirus and anti-malware software and are generally becoming more responsible in their use. The need for security, if you really measure it, is costly, but the existence of a lack of security can be even more costly. Now, for the individual, there are free apps within the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store that you can use to help to secure your devices. And sometimes for a nominal cost, there are some that you can also use that will do a better job. Now, what works for you is really going to be up to what you do online and the devices that you have. but the risk of not having any protection at all is one that cannot necessarily have a dollar value placed to it. If your device gets encrypted by ransomware, what is the cost of it? Do you have backups? So that's another thing that you need to do, to back up your device, not just the settings, but also your data on the device. It is very easy to get pirated software or so-called free software from some download sites and torrents, but usually they come with unwelcome and hidden residents that will take over your devices and will sometimes cause you grief. So while it does have a cost attached to it, you have to do the cost-benefit analysis. What is the cost of not having security versus having security? And I can almost assure you that when you really do it, the cost of security will work out way cheaper than not having security.
If between January 1 and December 31, you are a parliamentarian or public official in receipt of total emoluments of $3.5 million or above, or you are appointed or perform the functions of a position listed in the Jamaica Gazette, December 14, 2022, regarding the Integrity Commission Act, you are required to file a statutory declaration of assets, liabilities, and income as at December 31. What to file? You are required to declare all balances and interest in all assets, liabilities, and income received by you, your spouse, and children below the age of 18, whether living in Jamaica or abroad. It should be noted that a person who knowingly makes a false statement in a statutory declaration may be liable to a fine not exceeding $2 million or to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 2 years. The Integrity Commission has implemented its zero-tolerance policy. All declarants are to submit all outstanding statutory declarations. Failure to submit a statutory declaration may attract a fine of not exceeding $500,000 or to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 6 months. The Integrity Commission has decentralized the collection of statutory declarations. Submit your statutory declarations for the previous calendar year securely within your organization on or before March 31 of the following year. Here's how. Firstly, complete your statutory declaration. Ensure you have entered the correct as-at date, for example, December 31, 2022. NA or C attached is never an appropriate response. Use none and list all required balances. Copy or print additional pages where necessary. Ensure all the sections are signed. A justice of the peace is required to validate your signature by signing, entering the date, location, and affixing their embossed seal. Attach the relevant supporting documents. ATM printouts are not accepted. You then proceed to your in-house collection point. Collect a statutory declaration envelope and security seal. Place the required information on the statutory declaration envelope, seal the envelope, and affix the security seal. Deposit the secure envelope in the Integrity Commission branded collection container or with your designated officer on or before March 31. Finally, enter your name and date of submission on the Integrity Commission log sheet. The designated officer should deposit the white copy of the log sheet in the collection container on April 1. Retain the yellow copy for the files and facilitate the submission of the collection container to the Integrity Commission. The Integrity Commission will register your statutory declaration and send you a receipt by email on or before May 13. After submission, the statutory declaration is examined for due completion and accuracy. Where the Integrity Commission is satisfied that the statutory declaration has been duly completed, certification is done and an advisory issued to the declarant. Submit your statutory declaration completely and accurately and get on the path to certification. For more information, visit our office on the 4th floor of the Sagicor Sigma building at 63 to 67 Knutsford Boulevard, Kingston 5, or give us a call at 876-968-6227 or 876-960-0470.
We're now taking you on an important health talk. This one is particularly important for our women who are watching. In fact, shared with all the women in your life. We're getting health-wise about endometriosis.
I was always so miserable during my period, for as long as I can remember. The pain was so severe. I remember not having an appetite, nauseous. It was difficult to stand. It felt like a monthly interruption of my life. It continued for years, an endless cycle of suffering. I had no idea what was wrong with me. Then I was diagnosed with endometriosis.
Endometriosis is a chronic, painful condition of women in their reproductive years. So the condition occurs when the tissue that is normally inside the womb, called the endometrium, gets on the outside. This organ here is the uterus, or the womb, and within it is the endometrium. This is the tissue that is normally shed each month when you have a menstrual flow or a period. And it behaves normally when it flows and you have a period. However, if this tissue flows backwards through the fallopian tube, the structure here, it can land on the ovary, this white structure here, and form endometriotic cysts called endometriomas. It can run down the back of the womb and form deposits here, which can cause pain. The most common symptoms are very painful periods. You may also have infertility and pain during intercourse. Now, if the endometriotic deposits end up in other places, for example, endometriosis has been found in almost every tissue in the body. So it can be in the eye, so rarely. You may have intermittent blindness. It can be in the lung, so you can have shortness of breath, symptoms of a collapsed lung. In the brain, we can have seizures. To diagnose endometriosis, we start with the history of the painful periods. For those patients, we'll ideally do an abdominal and a pelvic examination. The gold standard test is a surgical procedure called laparoscopy. That's where we use a camera, which is inserted in through just below the belly button or the umbilicus, and using powerful lighting sources and optics, we're able to look and examine the pelvis, and then we can see the endometriotic deposits.
My journey with endometriosis began about 7 to 8 years ago when I was trying to get pregnant and couldn't figure out why. Went to the doctor, and after doing several tests, he asked about endometriosis. I'd never heard of it. And he said, well, we do a non-invasive surgery, which is a laparoscopic. They go in through the navel.
By this, we use a camera, as I said, and we use a set of surgical instruments which allow us to enter the abdomen through very small incisions, and we're able to locate the deposits, and we try to excise them or remove them from the pelvis in its entirety.
So I did the surgery, and unfortunately I had what was called a spontaneous abortion. That didn't hold. Tried again a few months later, and I got pregnant. I went to about 5 months, and unfortunately the baby died in vitro. I have not been able to ever get pregnant again.
After making a diagnosis, the mainstay of treatment is going to be dependent on your stage of the disease. So there are medical treatments, so we can use painkillers, oral contraceptive pills, surgical techniques. If you are having debilitating pain, if you're missing school, if you're missing work, then that's not normal and you need to seek the appropriate help. There are specialists who are well trained, both in terms of picking up the symptoms and making the diagnosis, and in terms of treatment. And the earlier you're treated, the better the outcome is likely to be.
I think every woman should get checked, because we've grown up to hear that once you have a bad period, it's a norm. Unfortunately, for those of us who have it, it's not the norm. I started following Shauna Fuller's story, and finding out how she found out that she had it. And I offered my services. I said, I want to spread the word. I volunteered. They have a support group. I went there and met with others. And I also got involved in the march. If you find out you have it, join the BASE Foundation. Be a support for somebody. There's nothing better than just that encouraging word. And just know that there's somebody out there who understands.
I can only encourage our women, if any of these symptoms seem to be occurring to you, seek appropriate help through your local obstetrician gynecologist and be referred to a specialist.
If I knew then what I know now, that it had a name, that I wasn't alone. Now that you know, don't suffer in silence.
Endometriosis affects 1 in every 10 women and girl worldwide. In Jamaica, over 10,000 women are affected by the disease. Many are not aware that they have it.
On the board this week, the link between prostate cancer and cardiovascular disease will be explored when the Jamaica Midlife Health Society hosts a webinar this Sunday, March 26, between the hours of 1 p.m. and 5 p.m.
We're going to have 2 major speakers, Dr. Tasha Cook, who is a urologist, our own urologist in Jamaica, and then Dr. Michael Cohen, who is from the States. He's a cardiologist. It is free to join unless you're a health professional who needs credit, and in which case you'll have to pay $1,500. So the registration process is WhatsApp only, 876-835-7781 or 876-325-1595, or you can email us at jmhs.official@gmail.com.
Join the conversation and get tips on how you can safeguard your health.
And this is where we end the program. Be sure to join us tomorrow for another show, and until then, there is more to watch by visiting our website, jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry. Until next time, take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.